It's one of the most storied and prestigious marques in the automotive world.
Rolls-Royce's history is of being the best.
A name so impeccable, it's commonly used to describe the finest things in life.
They're one of the only car makers who does anything handmade anymore.
A distinctly English form of perfection.
If you think of Great Britain, you think of Rolls-Royce.
For years, Rolls-Royce has succeeded by selling lavish chauffeured limousines. But now, the company faces a changing of the guard.
The question becomes, will Rolls-Royce be able to survive as its customers get older?
The brand's answer is to reach into their illustrious past for a touch of sport.
It's the ultimate gentleman's GT, the most luxurious way to get from A to B.
It's a bold wager on the next generation of the ultra-affluent.
Making a sporty Rolls-Royce, that's something of a gamble.
An extremely expensive and elegant bet called the Wraith. It's a handcrafted masterpiece featuring exotic wood, sumptuous leather, and illustrious paint. A grand touring machine built to the highest standards, yet capable of going from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in close to 4.4 seconds. And it's a machine that starts life at 245,000 euros and seldom ends there. The Rolls-Royce Wraith. The most powerful machine to ever be adorned with the Flying Lady, and a vehicle that aims to be driven.
It's not the 1930s or 40s anymore. The richest of the rich don't necessarily always have drivers. They don't necessarily want to be chauffeured.
Sporty and luxury tend to be on opposite ends of a spectrum. You get one or the other.
Extravagant limousines have kept the brand in business, but with their core buyers aging, the company needs to hook the next generation.
The Wraith is a little bit of a risk because it steps away from traditional Rolls-Royce values.
A risk worth taking to ensure the survival of perhaps the most famous icon in British motoring.
Wraith walks a fine line there that it still looks like a Rolls-Royce. It's got the proportions, it's got the presence and the elegance. It has all of the handcrafted wood and leather and all of the features, everything you expect from a Rolls-Royce. It just happens to go around a corner a little better.
Whether it's going around a corner or flying down a straightaway, seeing any Rolls-Royce is an extraordinarily uncommon event.
A Rolls-Royce is a very rare and precious thing. When you look at our sales figures last year, it was just under 4,000 cars.
4,000 brand new machines sold in 50 markets on a planet with a population of over 7 billion people.
It's an occasion just to see one go by.
That occasion begins at the Goodwood estate in southern England, inside the Rolls-Royce complex.
It's ultra-modern, environmentally friendly. We're very fortunate to be here in the Goodwood estate. The amazing thing about this place is you wouldn't know it was here. Unless you're physically here, you can't see it.
You may not be able to see the facility from the street, but there's plenty that stands out.
When you walk out into the line, it doesn't feel like a lot's happening because there's no machinery. It's all people, hands-on, putting things together.
The complex harkens back to a simpler time in a different era.
We don't call it a factory. We call this a manufacturing plant. This is the home of Rolls-Royce.
It's a home where finished cars don't come off the line in seconds, but rather months. The Wraith is so exquisite, that it takes 1,500 men and women over 450 hours to lovingly handcraft a single machine.
The big difference in the way Rolls-Royce is made versus most other cars is it comes down to time.
When I tell people we're running at near to full capacity, when they see the plant very gently moving along without too much fuss or noise, they don't believe me. It's very unhurried, it's very considered.
The modern production feel disguises a simple truth. The pursuit of perfection doesn't require a mechanized assembly line.
Automation doesn't give you the dexterity you need when you're working with natural products, the wood, the leather, the hand-finished coach line. And that's what we pride ourselves on.
Pride that is in part due to the Goodwood location.
We're based here in West Sussex. We employ over 1,600 people and we're a British manufacturing success.
It's completely non-traditional to build a motor car in the south, but actually also we're not really a traditional automotive manufacturer.
Non-traditional manufacturing that's inextricably linked to the United Kingdom itself.
Rolls-Royce is a key part of kind of British history.
It's a massive thing for Britain. I think it's bigger than the automotive industry.
As an English brand, I think it means a lot to a lot of people, which is lovely.
There's just a sort of a cultural appreciation in Britain for things that are handcrafted, that are done the old ways.
National honour echoes throughout the complex.
It's a real honour to say I work for Rolls-Royce Motor Cars.
Yeah, it's an iconic company. It's the pinnacle of the automotive industry in that respect. I think my family are really proud.
My dad was so proud of me when I got a job here, and he always says, oh, your granddad would be proud of you. That's a sort of, I don't know, yeah, proud to be British, isn't it?
Rolls-Royce has always been a source of prestige, but it hasn't always been successful.
The Rolls-Royce mark through history has ups and downs. The very beginning was the 4th of May 1904, when the two great men, our founding fathers, if you like, Sir Henry Royce and Charles Rolls, first met at the Midland Hotel in Manchester.
Sir Henry Royce and Charles Rolls meet 5 months after the Wright brothers take their very first flight. It's a time when society is radically changing. Yet the horse and carriage is still the dominant form of transportation.
Sir Henry Royce had had great success, but had very much come from nothing. And Charles Rolls, who was born to aristocracy, but was very much an adventurer.
Rolls is a thrill-seeker who becomes one of the first men to fly across the English Channel.
It was very much a meeting of great minds, and they discussed their desire to build the world's best motor car.
The men forge an agreement to create a new car company. Each and every machine will carry the name Rolls-Royce.
It was an intriguing meeting. It's completely recorded. We know what they had for dinner. It's extraordinary, as in many things with Rolls-Royce. The history is extremely well documented.
From the very beginning, price never matters.
For Sir Henry Royce, it was very much about quality first and price second.
Both men believe that there will always be customers willing to pay a premium for the very best. And they're right.
So it was a very early dawn of motoring.
Like many first-generation technologies, early automobiles are extremely expensive. Rolls-Royce motor cars are even more extravagantly priced.
In the early days of the automobile, and Rolls-Royce was one of the earliest, who could afford cars?
The company's initial success comes in 1906.
Perhaps the most famous car was the Silver Ghost.
The Silver Ghost is built to showcase the brand's engineering prowess. The machine is named for its silver-plated bodywork, but stands out due to its performance. The car runs from London to Glasgow 27 times in 1 year and sets a world record for non-stop motoring. Eventually, the same machine will go on to cover nearly 15,000 miles without fail in an era when driving a few hundred is challenging.
And really set the benchmark for Rolls-Royce in terms of quality of engineering.
Now, in the very early days, gentlemen racers raced Rolls-Royce motor cars. And then they became luxury cars. They became chauffeured limousines. And that's how it was for decades.
The astonishing cost helps the company become a global brand before anyone even knows what going global means.
The Maharaja car in India, perhaps the great businessman in the States, the senior government official in Russia. It's extraordinary that this company in England, in those very early days, was shipping cars all over the world.
Success outside the UK sends the Flying Lady soaring. However, by the latter part of the 20th century, she has trouble staying aloft.
How Rolls-Royce exists now is owed to the fact they actually ran out of money and went bankrupt.
In 1971, it gets so bad that the British government steps in and nationalizes the company.
There was nothing at all for decade after decade. And of course, it's a British thing to do, to stiff up a lip, not talk about your problems.
During that period and moving through the 80s and then into the 90s, the company was suffering from lack of investment.
So Rolls-Royce was really reaching the end. They didn't have the money to keep doing what they were doing, but they didn't have the money to build an all-new car.
It certainly was likely that Rolls was on the brink of extinction. We would have never known until the day afterwards.
As the century draws to a close, a brand that's synonymous with wealth, power, and fame is about to perish until a single piece of paper changes hands. In the early 90s, Rolls-Royce is in peril. The brand has survived 2 world wars, bankruptcy, and government nationalization. Yet once again, it stands on the edge of the precipice.
Unimaginable. To think this might not have existed would have been a little bit scary.
I think the last 20 years of the automotive industry have proven over and over again, brands that we couldn't conceive of living without have gone.
By the mid-90s, the unthinkable happens. Rolls-Royce is put up for sale.
It's an enormous turning point in the history of Rolls-Royce.
In 1998, BMW acquires the marque for £340 million. All they get in return is a name.
What BMW had bought was effectively a piece of paper. There was no manufacturing plant, there was no workforce, no dealer network, no design. It was perhaps the greatest adventure in automotive history.
The expedition begins with a £65 million investment for a new manufacturing complex in southern England.
We were starting from scratch. There wasn't a direct Rolls-Royce labour pool ready to come in and start working.
The factory's strategic location near the sea offers a unique artisanal advantage.
One of the reasons we're based in Goodwood was a strong link with the boat building industry.
We're right next to the sea. What do we make around here? We make boats, yachts, superb interiors.
A strong concentration of craftsmanship is vital when you're rebuilding an icon of England from the ground up.
There were 100 years of history and 100 years of expectation sitting on BMW to create, to rebuild, to rebirth, if you like, the renaissance of this incredible company.
To BMW's credit, they really committed.
The commitment is costly. Over the next decade, BMW injects over 1.4 billion euros. The result is the first brand new Rolls-Royce in years, the Phantom.
When Phantom was first coming out, there hadn't been much of a sort of new model initiative on Rolls-Royce for many years.
Introduced in 2003, the Phantom is an opulent limousine built for chauffeurs to pilot and passengers to appreciate.
Rolls-Royce is a survivor. Rolls-Royce is one of these brands that has never strayed away from its core competency.
The Phantom successfully reignites Rolls-Royce. But after a decade in production, the brand's demographics grow older.
To attract new customers, we must also stretch the brand a little.
The remedy is a new machine built for a different audience.
Wraith is an idea that's been dormant for a long time at Rolls-Royce, the idea of a sporty Rolls-Royce.
Those sporty, youthful customers won't buy a Wraith, but rather commission it like a work of art.
We offer our customers the ability to personalize their cars, to work with us, to inspire us.
The level of customization is unmatched in all of motoring.
Part of the essence of Rolls-Royce is that it's individual. Now, my printer can turn out an exact copy of a Salvador Dali painting, but it's not the same thing as the real thing.
98% of our cars come out of this factory with some element of bespoke on them. So the chances of getting two cars that are identical is very, very slim indeed. Very slim.
Deciding how to configure your Wraith is time-consuming.
There's a number of decisions to make, and we don't rush our customers. Often it's a very personal decision.
A world of choice awaits inside the customer studio, where a team of designers help customers navigate the complex maze of endless possibilities.
Here to sit with the customer in quite a relaxed fashion here in Goodwood and to just understand what are their aspirations for their car.
We would show them a range of different finishes and different colours and then put them together so we can kind of decide whether they like certain combinations.
It's a very colourful world. Rolls-Royce offers over 44,000 standard paint colours. However, should you still want for something else, they can custom match any hue in the rainbow.
Some customers will have a huge amount of deliberation on which colour because it's a massive sort of commitment. Some colours may work in the Middle East but won't work in Europe, so it's kind of a bit of a conversation point with the customer.
The room's colourful demeanour is perhaps only bested by the nearly limitless interior appointments.
Rolls-Royce leather is not something you just buy from any tannery. This is the nicest leather you could possibly put in this car.
The fabulous leather is often complemented with splendidly fine woods. Rolls-Royce offers over 20,000 different veneers, and many find their way into custom cabinetry, seldom found in other automobiles.
We've got a sketch of a humidor here, which is integrated into the center console of the Wraith.
Once approved, the sketches head to the wood shop, where artisans handcraft first-rate interiors using a mixture of old-world know-how and state-of-the-art tech.
We're here in the Rolls-Royce woodworking shop. It's a really special area in Goodwood. A real crafty area. It's got a romance to it.
It's a wood-based romance that's highly unusual in the automotive industry.
They're one of only two companies in the world that has their own wood shop in-house.
The guys that work in here live and breathe wood parts. It's a passion.
This is an IKEA table where you've got a bit of a veneer on the top that looks very nice, but the rest of it's all cheap. You're buying a piece of furniture.
Inside the humidor, stacks of pristine wood veneer leaves sit, ready to be transformed into whatever one can imagine.
Every piece of wood that we produce starts with veneer that comes from this room.
The humidor's constant moisture level keeps the wood malleable for artisans.
They're from all over the world, tropical veneers, veneers from North America, from Europe, so quite a sourcing activity is needed to get hold of this stuff.
From start to finish, a single wood set takes over 6 weeks to produce. Each year, they make over 81,000 handcrafted parts.
We're just outside of the humidor now, and basically this area is where we prepare the veneer through the next phase.
This is where the brand's famous book matching comes to life, a process where craftsmen mirror the grain on both sides of the vehicle.
Joe then has to effectively match that veneer down that centre line in the car. It's a real skill that the guys have to develop over time to get a good feel for the veneer, to make sure that they get that perfect pattern through the car.
When the book matching is complete, veneers are taped together and sent to a laser cutting machine.
After Joe's prepared the veneer, effectively we've got the surface area to cut the specific geometries out from.
Finished panels look like solid wood pieces, but they're actually built up of over 30 layers of different materials due to safety regulations.
The fact that you can't have solid wood in a car, God forbid there's an incident in a car, rather than the material breaking and causing damage to the occupants, it deforms. There's a lot of challenges to overcome with getting some of these materials in the cars, which makes the craftsmanship even more impressive.
In another part of the wood shop, the remaining layers are assembled.
So what Tony's doing here is selecting the individual layers of that substrate part that will be pressed together in our press. We've got glue sheets, we've got aluminium layers. There's a lot of complexity in this job.
During each loading cycle, the timing must be absolutely perfect.
He will have to load it in a specific order to make sure that the length of time that the part is in the tool doesn't exceed a certain amount of time, which would set the glue too early.
The press laminates each panel using 220 tons of force. That's roughly 2 times the weight of a blue whale. When the substrate is finished, it's time to glue the veneer on.
What Paul's doing here is getting the veneer ready to be pressed onto the substrate part that you would recognize. He'll apply a glue layer to the substrate, put the veneer onto it, and then we'll use the membrane press to apply pressure and heat to make sure that the face veneer sticks to the substrate part. So the heat is applied from the lower bed, but effectively the membrane is pulled down over the part, and that's the top pressure that's applied onto the part to set the adhesive. Between the pressure and the temperature, it's around 70 degrees and about 1 bar of pressure, and those parts will stay in there for about 30 minutes.
Then a talented craftsperson trims the excess material.
As you see, he's trimming the excess material off, taking great care to make sure it's not damaging the A-surface, and he's working with the part then to get that final shape.
If there are any repairs to make, artisans will cut small slivers from the remaining veneer sheets and delicately glue them into place.
What Dan's using here is your everyday appliance in terms of the iron. It's not anything magical. It's the perfect tool that the guys use to apply the heat to set the glue. We're in the final stages here. What we're doing is giving the final sanding to the parts, ready for the lacquer process.
During the sanding process, they take mere microns off to prep it for lacquering. Finally, the pieces and panels are sent to the lacquering department, where they add less than 2 millimeters of clear coat.
The finest woods, everything in here, it has to be top tier and perfect, because if it's not, what's the point?
Being the best has been the hallmark of Rolls-Royce for over 110 years. Yet in today's computerized society, the artisanal talents required to do it are fading away fast. The key is ensuring those irreplaceable skills live on. Rolls-Royce has been hand-building remarkable automobiles since 1904.
Rolls-Royce is one of these companies that's been laser-focused on its mission, which is, we want to make the best car.
The single-minded, some might even say obsessive approach to luxury car crafting is both time-consuming and expensive.
At no time, now or in the past, has Rolls-Royce said, just make it cheaper. Doesn't exist.
If you own a Rolls-Royce, you have really made it.
Owning a Rolls is a marker of success, and building it requires a workforce with an unusual set of skills.
So that challenge is maintaining the real detail and craftsmanship within our product.
To keep that expertise going, the brand creates an apprenticeship program. Each year, they offer 17 young adults the opportunity to learn the art of traditional coach building.
I see younger people coming through, I try and help them. It is really good.
Each apprenticeship can last up to 4 years and combines on-the-job training with classroom study.
They're the future, so you need to relay the information that they need to help them for their future. For the future of Rolls-Royce as well.
It's an exceptional way to give back and to ensure the continuation of a certain way of life.
When I was an apprentice, I didn't know nothing. I'd come straight from school. I wouldn't be where I was now if it wasn't for all these guys working around me, passing all their knowledge on to me.
You can just see how the expertise have been passed on from generations and actually see these people doing things that we would have done years and years ago.
Tradition and the reverence for the past and for the craftsmen who really created as much art as they did machine. And Rolls-Royce keeps that spirit alive.
Sewing team leader Alice Strachan is a prime example of how using the past to bet on the future pays off.
I met a couple of guys that were doing their apprenticeship here. They were learning to do upholstery and they said, well, you should try it. And I thought, well, what have I got to lose?
The apprenticeship leads to a permanent job in the leather sewing department.
Yeah, I have grown here. I started from learning each process. I can look at a product and think, oh, that's not good enough, because I know in seat build or seat covering that actually that's going to be really visible.
Alice's rise through the ranks results in a once-in-a-lifetime memory.
A VIP was coming to the factory, and would I be able to introduce them? And I thought, oh, who could that be? It was something to meet the Prime Minister. Not many people have that opportunity. And then to actually shake his hand and introduce him to 1,000 people, it was an experience. Afterwards, everyone was coming up to me telling me what a great job I'd done, and I was just thinking, oh, I'm glad it's over. Oh, my little heart was beating, but it was fantastic.
The leather department's goal is to make every second spent inside the cabin feel special.
We're at the beginning of the process where we start to make that really special interior made out of the best leather in the world. So this is pre-inspection, and I think what you'd notice immediately is just the colour range that we offer. And these are the standard colours. You've got some great colours. We've got Arctic white, a real contrast, really popular in the Middle East areas, really fantastic. But then some of the more classics, ardent red, really strong, deep colour, that again, really shows some of the contrast that you can pick out.
The first step in the process is looking over the hides.
And we inspect each hide with a 10% stretch to that hide, so we can really see any natural marks or any included marks through the leather production process.
They spread the leather out on an air cutting table and digitally lay out templates for all the panels.
Many places do this with a camera and an automated process. They lay the high down on the table. Well, our view is the best camera you can buy is the human eye. There's more pixels to the human eye than any other camera.
It takes 17 days and 18 hides to make just one Wraith interior.
We've selected all the panels, cut them, prepared them, and then some further skill is added. This is where the sewing team provide their real craftsmanship, their touch, to bring those panels together in the most exacting, the most precise manner.
A lot of our expertise are within tailoring, so we'll apply techniques that you very much see a lot in fashion, actually.
Each associate might have come from a tailoring background or from a furnishing background, and they come here and they use their skills from other areas.
No rush to get the product through. We have to make sure that each one comes out perfect.
The leather shop is the opposite of today's high-tech, highly automated culture. The level of detail and handwork required to bring an interior to life is remarkably similar to how Charles Rolls and Sir Henry Royce would have done it.
Would our forefathers really come in here and recognise the processes? And I think yes, I really do. And that's because the craftsmanship, the basic processes that we're using are bringing the materials together in pretty much the same way. So this kit is now ready to go upstairs to the seat production area for them to finish off the magic.
Upstairs, the trim department assembles interior pieces one by one. Metal frames are wired. Cushions are covered. And seats are tested to ensure they work flawlessly. When the seats are finished, they're sent downstairs along with the rest of the interior elements to the final assembly hall, where a tightly knit team continues the quest for perfection.
You seem to know everyone. It's quite weird, really. It's almost like you're working in a small company because everyone's so close together.
It's a small company feeling born out of small batch production.
It takes about 18 hours in total for the car to go from the start to the finish, which for us is just over a day because we run a two-shift operation.
Painted frames enter the line at the rate of around 1 an hour, but they're seldom rushed.
We allow ourselves a bit more time and a bit calmer pace to prevent us actually having those issues where we perish the thought damage a part that's going to take 6 weeks to make. So each of the operators has over 50 minutes worth of work to remember. So you're not doing it every 60 seconds, but they've got an hour's worth of things to remember, which for this car will be different to the car behind it.
The Wraith line features 18 stations.
The first thing really is putting all of the undergarments into the car.
First, they install the custom-tailored wiring harness.
There's kilometers of wire that when you individually pull them apart, we're talking highways worth of wiring going into the car.
While there's a hefty amount of wire inside the Wraith, there isn't a lot inside the factory, nor is there any semblance of automation.
With the cycle times, the number of cars we build a day, having a conveyor belt isn't what we need. We're not about automation. You won't see in this process any robots.
It's almost like you're not really working on a car. It's totally different. It's not high production.
It's a very manual process. Yeah, we deliberately keep the factory fairly quiet. There's no music playing.
It takes a peaceful place to build what many consider to be the quietest automobile on the road.
That moment when the doors click shut and then the auto close pulls them to, and there's that moment of complete silence. And I don't know of many cars that you get that kind of atmosphere.
An extreme amount of sound-deadening material creates the silent sensation.
When you're inside, you're cut off from the rest of the world. It's a lovely environment. And to get that, we've got a lot of different types of sound insulation in the car. Different weights of sound insulation will stop different types of noise.
The instrument panel comes next. Though unlike most cars, here it's installed in 2 stages. The first is the mechanical guts of the system. Then they put in the top-notch handcrafted materials.
So this is the next stage of building up the instrument panels. In the car behind us, we've now got the leather and the wood being fitted.
The leather and wood not only draw your eye, but also hide a tremendous amount of electrical componentry.
One of the things you really notice is how hidden everything is. And again, that's a decision that's been made on purpose. And the car should be uncluttered, and the technology should only be available when you want it available.
Rolls also has little touches that make it a very endearing car. You have this big infotainment screen. If you just don't want to look at it, you press one button and a wood veneer screen comes down and covers it up. And the whole driving experience changes.
It's a driving experience unlike any other, partly due to luxury, and partly due to Formula One. At the Rolls-Royce complex in Goodwood, England, artisans have spent hundreds of hours ensuring only the finest pieces go into a new Wraith. Yet hidden beneath the lavish materials is a highly sophisticated machine.
You sit inside a Rolls-Royce, you're seeing handcrafted wood and the finest leather that's been hand-stitched and all these things, and all the computers and things are hidden.
Some of those computers run the 8-speed transmission, a gearbox that holds a surprise. It can actually think on its own.
Rather than have the gearbox purely just keeping up with the speed of the car, it's also reading the road ahead, so it knows the corners that are coming up and it knows what gear to set the car for.
The satellite GPS-connected transmission is an industry first and based on BMW's Formula One technology.
So if you're coming down a straight road and there's a perpendicular junction in the road, if you have your turn signal going, the car knows you're going to make a left turn. So it makes sure it holds the correct gear rather than maybe going into a higher gear that it would otherwise have for that straight piece of road.
The transmission is pre-assembled in the drivetrain sub-assembly area, where 2 workers bolt the Wraith's running gear to the massive 6.6-litre twin-turbo V12 engine.
This is our 6.6-litre twin-turbo V12 that powers Wraith. It's an impressive engine, and it's actually quite a tight fit as well.
We have very tight tolerances. When the engine actually goes to the engine bay, you're looking about 3/4 of an inch either side.
Every hour, a completed drivetrain is sent to an eagerly awaiting Wraith.
The whole marriage process using 16 fixings taking about 6.5 minutes.
The installation of the most powerful Rolls-Royce engine is both smooth and easy, just like driving the machine.
A Wraith has a driving experience that's just unlike anything else. The way the engine delivers power, the way the ride quality feels, the way the steering feels.
So the car feels a little more responsive, but it still has the flying carpet feel that you're driving on a cloud, and that it's absolutely silent inside, and there's no distractions from the outside world.
It's a very low automation line, but on the flip side of that, we do have a lot of nuts and bolts and screws that actually really are very critical to the car.
Some of those nuts are used to install the high-tech air suspension system.
There's 2 elements for that. One is the sensing, so something that can understand what the wheels are doing, and then the other part is actually the air suspension units which are in the body.
The air suspension reacts almost instantaneously. It makes adjustments 60 times a second.
So if you were to take yourself from the passenger seat on the left rear side and jump across to the right-hand side, the car's already sorted itself out by the time your backside hits the seat.
While occupants are isolated from the majority of the high-tech systems, there's one star that stands out.
Okay, this is the creation of our Wraith Starlight headliner. So this is one of the a real popular feature for our customers in the car. It gives them that starlight twinkle effect in their roof.
It takes 1,340 fiber optic cables to replicate the night sky, and over 14 hours.
You must be very accurate and patient, because these holes are very, very tiny, and you're using drill bits like it's 0.8 millimeters, so it's very, very special.
They are delicate, very delicate. If you bend them too far, they'll break. You've got to be careful cutting them so that you don't, when you're cutting them, you don't cut the leather. The headliner is the last thing you want to do.
All that twinkle adds up. The Bespoke Starlight option adds over 11,000 euros to the sticker price.
This is one of those things that if anyone else did it, it would be a kitschy gimmick. When Rolls-Royce does it, it's fabulous. It is so cool, especially the fact that you can determine what stars are over your head. Come on, that is the coolest thing in the world.
They swing the seats into place before bolting on the Wraith's rear-hinged coach doors.
A lot of people call them suicide doors, which is not brand appropriate.
The doors are a piece of jewelry, right? It's totally unnecessary. You could have a regular door that opened in a regular way, but you could also have a regular car, right?
Custom Cannondale wood panels feature the largest veneer in the automotive industry.
They're substantial doors. One of the first things people do when they get in the car is reach to close it. You don't have to do that, they're all power closed.
And I love the fact that they have a little button that you can press that swings the door in so you don't have to reach out and grab it, because that would just require too much work than you should possibly ever exert in a Rolls-Royce.
As the interior takes shape, a craftsperson installs the signature steering wheel.
I love Rolls-Royce steering wheels. They're simple and thin-rimmed. There's something super elegant about this thin steering wheel with knobs on the back. The tactile sensations in a Rolls-Royce are fantastic.
In your regular old automotive factory, the idea is to build as many cars that day as possible. Rolls-Royce is the exact opposite approach.
As the machine enters its final phase of construction, in a small room, a craftsman assembles the elaborate customer key box by hand. When the box is finished, it's sent to a very special station on the line, where they install the Spirit of Ecstasy.
So we put the Emily on here, which everyone loves to see, obviously. The Spirit of Ecstasy goes on the front.
You know, it actually looks quite simple, but you have to know a few bits because it's so easy to damage. I said even to my wife, every single Royce, last 5 years, always has my Emily. So that's a very good feeling, I have to say.
Something else that really good happens here is it's the first time the car's ever driven, which is another thing that we love to be part of. First time you hear a roary engine.
After a new Wraith is fired up, it's time to test it out. A process that is 6 times longer than it takes to build the machine.
Take it into wheel alignment, where we just check all the alignment and geometry of the suspension. Next, our vehicles move forward into a driver assistance systems check. After that, we move the vehicle into a pre-rolling road inspection. Then we put our cars into a rolling road, doing a full driver simulation, making sure that the functionality of the car there, ABS braking, kickdown of the gearbox, is as we expect. There is a lot of responsibility there, because if we were to send something on to our customer that didn't meet or exceed their expectations, then you've lost the Rolls-Royce brand. It's all about perfection.
The pursuit of perfection is evident everywhere you look inside the Goodwood complex. But there's one man who has no margin for error. Coachline painter Mark Court.
Coachline means I put a highlight line on most cars, as you can see from the one that's with us now. Is being in a right mindset when you walk in the morning. You've got to be in a certain mindset to do this. You've got to be able to switch off from everything, just go into your own little world and just do this.
It takes Mark 3 hours to apply a custom coachline. It's done entirely by hand and runs the full 6 meters of the machine.
This is not really a thing that a robot can do. If you look closely enough, you will see there's hand done, there's slight inconsistencies that you can look with your fingers rather than your eyes. What you see is what you get. There is no clear coat put over these. This paint is what it is. It actually adheres to the car, and believe me, you cannot get it off after 5 days. They can still wash, wax, polish, and it'll still be there. Each one's different. Each one is done with a little bit of passion. I take pride in every one of these that I do.
You're paying a lot of money for an expert master craftsman to hand paint these stripes on your car. You want to know that they were done by hand. This wasn't a machine that came through and sprayed it quickly. This man spent hours hand painting.
It's taken over 200 craftspeople more than 3 months. But finally, the keys to a brand new Rolls-Royce are ready to be handed over.
When we've completed our process, I wonder where it will go, who's going to be in it, who will see it and go, wow.
From the time that you walk up to it, when you start it up, I mean, for crying out loud, it's got a power available gauge instead of attack. The way the spirit of ecstasy pops out of the dash, every part of the car is about wow.
The wows and wonder are a direct result of the nearly limitless artisanal handcrafting that goes into each machine.
There's like a club of like 2 automakers that do this kind of stuff. You get a level of craftsmanship that's just unparalleled. These are people who are lifers, who have been, grown up in the company from the beginning to just make these materials as beautiful and as nice as possible.
You're proud to be part of that process. If I go to London and I see a car, I say to my partner, I could have been part of that. I could have made some of those seats,
Said I'm very proud to work here. I think it is incredible that we produce vehicles here that go all around the world.
No matter where a Rolls-Royce goes, it usually gets noticed.
My father's an engineer, and my father and my brother are both car guys as well, so if I can bring the latest car home, they want to have a look.
It's one of those cars that you love to share the experience with. People want to know everything about it. They want to know how much it costs, how much power it has, all these things. But really, all they want to do is spend time with it.
It's an experience that's been lovingly imbued using traditional methods rarely seen in modern cars.
A Rolls-Royce is the very natural extension of this British idea of custom tailoring and of old world tradition and of respecting tradition and fine craft.
From its silhouette to its badging, you're looking at something impressive.
To see one and to actually experience one is very rare.
When you roll onto that accelerator, it's like this gentle, quiet wave of torque is just urging you along, but in the softest way possible. And it feels really good.
Seeing one is extremely rare. Owning one is even more exclusive. And for over 110 years, the Flying Lady has stood for the very best.
The Wraith was an admission that, hey, there are people who have the financial means to drive these cars who want to drive them themselves.
What it's done for our brand in real terms is massive. So 5 years ago, our age demographic was 53 years old average. It's now 45.
It's one of the most luxurious automobiles that money can buy. Built from a brand that nearly faded away. And a machine that could only come from the most famous icon in British motoring. The Rolls-Royce Wraith.
Any Rolls-Royce is a precious jewel in the automotive ocean. It is exceptional, it is unique. And if we look through the cars that have been built through history, and more than 3/4 are still here today, exceptional. It is very much about taking those cars forward for future generations.